So, I was just laying here thinking about love. What is love? Not what is love. Okay, I'll talk normal. I was just thinking about how we define love and how many people talk about how unconditional love is the answer. Like unconditional love this, unconditional love that. And I just had this thought while I was thinking. um, all right, here's a scenario. You say, we're meant to be here to love the world unconditionally or whatnot. So somebody's screaming in your face or doing things that you don't like, that aren't fair or whatever, like even a stranger, like out on the street, and you're loving them. But in that moment, there's like turmoil. And sort of one thing that I've learned, like is when there's like a turmoil, you can't tap into the heart, like everything else is going, like it's like a survival of psychology, a survival of limbs. You have to use other body parts. It's gonna, all right, hang in there. um because I meditate and whatnot, and I do a lot of things based around the heart. Like love is actually a feeling in the heart. It expands, it's an energy, and it's something that goes out, and it comes mostly from a place of stillness or excitement. You could be moving, but rarely, never in sort of a survival or when you're being attacked or anything like that. It doesn't mean you don't love that person. It just means, you can't have unconditional love. Like unconditional love becomes the action of love and not the expansion of the energy and feeling of it. Like you do things, like for people, for strangers. Let's say somebody is like an angry type of person, and you want to give them love. They can't receive it, so you can't give them love. You can give them the actions of love, like food, and yeah, you feel love, but you can't give them love. So you're not, in a sense, you're giving unconditional love, but you're not, because there is a condition around the love, based on this person cannot fully receive it because their heart is closed off. They can only receive the action of the love. So unconditional love quite often ends up being a more shallow approach to love, which is not a bad thing, because it's beautiful. We can do things for people and not expect things back. And then there's like another level, like where people sort of more choose their friends, associates, and it's less conditional. Like it's more come and go, breezy, the odd message, hey, do you want to meet up, nah, type thing. Which is, it's okay, it's good, it's really good to have people you can trust and depend on, but it's less consistent, but it's more love implied, because these people, depending on the type of friends you choose or be around, I tend to need people that can have more in-depth talks, that are able to hug, like, and even just see love in their eyes, and share emotions and things like that, like really, and also have a sense of loyalty to a degree. um true good friends. It's conditional. It is conditional. We choose the most expansive, most love expansive relationships in our life based on conditions. And it's trust, it's loyalty, it's kindness, all of these things, that represent what people look for in like a strong long-term partnership relationship, like the next level, which becomes even more conditional, because you're spending like all your time around this person. You want to, for somebody that is really in tune with their heart, and they're consistently expanding their vibration. Some people are more on a belief system level. They're looking for somebody that, whether it's biblical, whether it's a spiritual sort of doctrine, whatever, like whether it's sitting around and fucking watching NFL, what NFL, what NFL, not even AFL, NRL, whatever, and drinking a beer on the weekend. They're looking for similarities of mindsets. And then there's the other level of when you really start to tap in and realize like, oh, life is energy, the body's energy, and you start opening up, and love is like physical. The energy is physical, it pours through your body, and you can feel it like on a cellular level. So, you're like, you're looking a bit deeper, and you have more conditions on, yeah, your friendships, definitely. But then when you open up to someone, in the relationship sense, conditions get fucking strong. Like the more work you do on yourself, the more conditional you become. And it doesn't mean like you're going to meet someone, they're amazing, and they're never going to like ruin those conditions, because people fall in and out of consciousness all the time, even the most well kept. Doesn't mean they can't mess with you or whatever. It's a part of life. Like, it happens. I've always said I don't trust any human 100%, because everybody, including myself, is capable of breaking trust, or developing self-destructive behaviors. But the thing is, when you sort of go into that more deeper notion of conditional love, which wraps around a relationship, and people might say, oh, that's imprisonment. Like, you're finding someone, you're placing all these conditions around that love, but they're all beautiful things. Like the requirement of communication, consistent communication, the requirement of honesty, the requirement of like deep honesty, like to tell the truth on the most deep level, the requirement of trust, where you can pretty much fully trust someone. Also, like I said, still well knowing that people can break that trust, because we're human. It can happen. Like, I've had beautiful relationships, and it happens. Like, and you've just got to remember that people fuck up. But like, you still can feel a deep level. I don't know if you want to put it down to a percentage, but you'll be like, man, like 90% trust I can feel for this person, 95%, whatever. Like, there is a strong trust, because there's just something about their character, the way they move themselves, the way they hold themselves, the way they talk, like, just, something, you can feel it in people, the way they speak, and what's in their eyes. Oh man, just the lines in their face. Like, there's just so many things you can look at a human being, and like, quite early on see how trustworthy they are. But yeah, all of these things that are requirements, and then it goes on to other conditional things, like, hey, we're in a relationship, don't sleep around. And then it becomes like you know a health-based thing or something. Some people might be like, hey, I'm not after, like, I can't be with a drinker or smoke, all of these things, which to me is like another level of like conscious behavior relating to health, mental, physical, soulful even, because alcohol, eventually will just diminish your happiness, which is related to your soul. And I'm not here to shit on people, but it's a reality. And because I've been down that path myself when I was younger, so I know it. um but yeah, there's these other kind of expectations that, they're not really conditional expectations, to the point where you're taking away someone's freedom. You're actually expanding their freedom. And I thought about this, and I'm like, man, I've never really, I've just wanted to meet someone like that's not really a drinker or smoker, or that's kind of on a spiritual path, and like full of love and joy and understand. Like there's a lot of things now. I have a lot of conditions. Like, I have a fucking lot, because I've done all this work on myself. There's no way I can. There's no way. There's no way I can be with someone that just wants to get pissed every weekend and not have deep talks and things like that. That's fucking, man. Like, why would I? I'd rather be alone, laying in my bed, thinking about. uh, and not speak your language. Yeah, you not speak my language, so sorry, we do not match. um, what was I saying? But yeah, there's like that thing where you work on yourself more and more and more and more, health, mental, soulful, whatever. And you sort of know, like there's gonna be conditions definitely based around when you meet someone, but hopefully they've got all this stuff sorted, you know. like a lot of people, when they meet someone, they're like, oh, they've got to have this, they've got to have this money, and they've got to have that. And it's like, man, fucking, yeah, fair enough, I get it. But man, there's so much more important things that people should have before you start thinking about what's in their bank account, or what they're doing as a job or whatever. I'd be more focused on what level they're vibrating at what kind of purpose they feel in their lives, rather than ticking these boxes off, because man, that's going to be the factor that maintains like a beautiful relationship in the long run. So yeah, then there's like these other conditions, like, yeah, I don't want you to sleep with anyone else, or which is for me quite normal. Like I think of my ex, and there was the conditions that I had were like, literally, she never really drank or like done drugs or like things like that, was very healthy, on a spiritual path, like doing great things. May have like kind of lost away a little bit in certain areas, such as life. We're all here having our lessons, and we can't learn certain lessons without having experiences first within that area. So yeah, on that path. So yeah, so there's that's what I was saying. The only condition that I sort of was like, all right, well, this is it. And it was more for her safety. Like, I'm like, do whatever you want, go wherever you want. Like what she wanted to do, like the festival thing. I'm like, hey, don't be one of those people that has to go to festivals and rely on drugs to be happy. Just don't do it. Like it's you're wiser than that. You should be able to go anywhere and find your own joy and happiness. You shouldn't have to trip balls and take stuff. Like, anyone can get offended from that, but you don't have to. Like, joy and love is all around, man. Like, you don't need to do it. And she knew this, so that was kind of like, hey, like, I know I'm acting like a strict father a little bit, but it's like, man, like, don't do that shit. You're smart. And it was more just a precaution. Like, I fully was more pretty sure that she never really wanted to go down those rabbit holes anyway. Maybe a trial thing, but she just didn't have that personality of like getting stuck on drugs and things like that. So yeah, I just knew. But I'm like, hey, like, it was more of a precaution, like, you can't do this. But it's more like, hey, come on, like, don't do this, it's not good for you, just be wise. More of a precaution. That walking too deeply into the bush alone, and walking alone at night, especially in particular areas where she was at that time, was okay. That's it. That's for me, because all the other stuff was there, like the trust, the love, the loyalty, all of the things, like the communication, all that stuff was already there. I would have never really entered it if it wasn't. But all that stuff was there. So the other conditions were more about like her safety. As for what she did, where she went, couldn't have cared. Like, I had a camper van, and she's like, oh, I want to go here, like, away for 2 weeks. I'm like, go, take my van, like, enjoy, like, see you in 2 weeks or a week. Then it turned into 2 weeks, whatever. But conditional love is not, it's not a trap, it's an expansion. Like, even with strangers, when you're giving them things and they're not offering you back kindness, you should say something. I fucking do. Like, when I give someone and they're not at all thankful, and they don't even just attempt to show it or say it, or when I'm helping someone and they snap at me, I'll be like, hey, like, what the fuck you snapping at me for? And they're like, oh, you fucking, like, don't get angry at me. I'm helping you. Like, show some appreciation. I'm like, I'm giving you respect. I'm giving you appreciation. Try giving it back. And they might not like it, but man, that's the growth. That's the growth of people that are in a dark place. The reason they're in that dark place quite often is because they aren't told the truth. They haven't been told to use respect. People just like, here's a sandwich, and continue being a grumpy cunt. It doesn't hurt to be honest. I mean, if your safety is in, a thing, like, then don't do it. But like, my love comes with conditions, and I'm okay with that. Like if I'm having a conversation with someone, I'll make it conditional. I'm like, they want to just keep talking about how shit life is or whatever, and my conditions are, let's talk about how life can be better, or how we can improve that, or have a different attitude towards the situations we're going through, as in not a dwelling, and as just like a different way of viewing them that aren't from a victim standpoint or something, like you have to set like rules that are for the better of yourself and others. Otherwise, you allow certain things in. And I'm not talking about just people coming into you, because people come into me all the time. It's about what they want to bring to you. And sometimes they're just stuck. Like, I've had times where people have sat down near me and I've sat near them, and they're just so hell bent on man, the world's like this and all that. And I'm like, man, I'm tired, or their mind's a bit stuck. I'll just be like, all right, man, like, have a good day. But I'll say it in a way where I'm like, why I'm saying it, the way I'm saying it. I'm not saying, oh man, you have a good day, bro. Like, enjoy, man. Like, catch you later. I'm like, yeah, bro, have a good day. And they'll be like, they'll just kind of, oh fuck, like, they'll have a think about. I'll go away and I know they're having a think about. Have a good day, man. Like, they know, they get it. Like, you don't even need to go too in depth. It's like, man, you're stuck, bro, and I'm not going into that. But yeah, conditional is life. Conditional is what has you demanding respect. Not demanding in like stamping your feet, but like you just own respect. You're like, yeah, like, you come with respect, and you don't get like, hey man, like, fucking nah, you don't get to treat me like that. You don't get to speak to me like that. Like, that's the condition of life. You don't just like shower people with love when they can't even receive it. Like, they're not even open to it. And the only way they become open to it is when they go, oh fuck, you know what, you're right. I'm sorry. Like, you're right. I was speaking to you shit. Right then, their ego softens, which means their energy rises more up to their heart, and they're ready to receive the actual love that you're showering towards them. You've undone a blockage, like a fucking, I don't know. It was like a piece of wood that's blocking some water, man, or something like that. But yeah, love, real love is conditional. And it's not forcing the condition, it's just bringing them. You can bring them. You can bring them in a creative way. You can have a talk about a serious scenario with some humor, and unfold, people's energy and thoughts with some joking, saying the real things, but with some joking. Other times it needs like a straight down the line, because they're a fucking straight down the line person. Whatever tools you need to bring in the time, but it's always, love is always conditional. It doesn't mean you don't love someone without it. It just means that when you're at a high level of love and you're bringing it, your condition is, they need to be ready to receive it, especially within a relationship. When you choose someone to be around consistently, they need to really up their level, or they need to already be on that level, because man, like, you got to meet, you got to match. And even in society, when like I said again, when we're walking past people, you won't have to see them again. So, and people are like, oh, I don't have to get involved or say anything. I don't know that person. I'm not gonna see him again. That's perfect. That's a perfect time to share some fucking truth, because you don't have to see him again. Say, hey man, you're acting like a fucking dick. Keep walking. I go away. I'm like, man, I'm acting like a dick. I just went all grey. Fucking hell, it was just dying out. That's what happens when you act like a dick. You die out. I'm acting like a dick. Canny fun. Anyway, that's my rant, and why conditional love is good, because it makes you a better person. It makes strangers a better person. It helps your growth, because you have conditions on your life. You gotta love yourself for who you are. Like, man, like, I'm a lovely person without the alcohol. Man, you're so amazing. You're beautiful without eating all that shit food. You're just so like you don't need to feel good from shallow things. You can feel good right now for the person, the being you are. Yo.